Hey, good morning, YouTube friends. Just checking in, give you a brief update on what I'm working on. You are looking at a resin cast Frankenstein. This was sculpted and cast by Andy Cope. Andy's in the UK, and he is one hell of a sculptor. And I try to buy a couple pieces from him every year. It's one of those deals where I'd rather spend a little more money because it does cost more, of course, on shipping, and his prices are great. The shipping is the killer because these things are heavy. They're solid resin. A lot of it, some of it's hollow cast, but a lot of it's solid. But these are really great pieces. If you want to build something different, then he's got the stuff. And this is in progress, so he's just kind of dull all over right now, but I'm just going to kind of show you this. I've mounted him on a base to help him stand up. He's very top heavy, and I use brass pins in the feet to drill up through there and mount those in the base, so that really helps support the whole thing. But this is a really cool one. I've got several Frankensteins from him. This one almost has a Hulk-like face, and he is airbrushed with Createx colors. The fluorescence, of course, now they're called Wicked colors. They were originally called Auto Air, and they've kind of phased out the Auto Air. I'm still living off some of this stuff that I've bought. Some of my Auto Air paint's probably 10 years old, but it lasts really well. It does not really go bad. I've had a few go bad over the years, but very few. And you can paint this on right out of the bottle, or you can reduce it. They make a reducer specifically for this, and I like this because it stays wetter longer, so you've got more movability with your paint. You can move your paint around, and I use the Tamiya acrylics on some things, but I find that it dries so quickly. It can cause clumping, and it's kind of frustrating, and a lot of times it'll lift it, so it'll pull its own paint right back off of what you just painted. If it starts drying and you're going back over it, it'll pull the paint off, and this doesn't. Of course, this was all airbrushed originally. All the green was airbrushed over a white base coat, so I sprayed the whole thing white. This was separate pieces: arms, head, the waist down's a separate piece, and then the torso is a piece. So all of this was done in white first, then airbrushed in the hot colors in the green. His vest, I sprayed that all black originally, and then it's just a matter of dry brushing over it. In this case, I've used browns, as you can see. Now his hair right now is really glossy. That will not stay that way. The Auto Air is glossy or semi-glossy out of the bottle, so he's going to get sprayed down with matte clear. I use the Tamiya matte clear, and I'll go over this entire build with that matte clear when I'm done with all the details. And then anything I do want wet looking, like, you know, his incisions here, the cuts and stuff around here inside of his mouth and his eyes, I'll go back with gloss clear over that to make it look wet, you know, like his mouth is wet, that type of thing. So I'm in progress right now. Yesterday was just kind of a little detailed day. I did some work in there, just did the teeth and the eyes. And those teeth, you know, it's kind of a combination of, there's about 4 washes on there. So I usually do the white, then I'll do a wash with some yellow, and then a wash with brown, and then a wash with black. So that gives you that kind of grungy look in between there. I do that on a lot of my monster figures, and sometimes even a little red to make it look bloody. I did airbrush a little red inside of there originally, so when I gloss this up, it'll pop that right out. He's got, same way with on his hands, he's got some red. And of course, fingernails, monsters have dirty fingernails. They don't have time. They're out monstering. They don't have time to do their nails or go get a manicure, so they always have grungy fingernails to go with their grungy teeth. And he's just, I've got his pants in just kind of a basic blue and brown boots, and then what I'll do is I'm going to wash over his boots in black. I'll go back with the airbrush, go back with the airbrush, and I'll hit his jeans with white, like on the knees and in these areas, and then around on the back here, you know, around his butt and stuff and his legs, to kind of give it that faded jeans look. So that'll be come up. Of course, he hasn't got his neck bolts in yet, and I usually, Andy casts bolts to go with this, but I'll usually use a real bolt and mount that in there, which I will do, you know. That'll be coming up, and just a few more details to go. So what I use a large brush to cut the whole thing in, all the large parts, brush down as much as I can as far as hand brushing. I don't do a ton of hand brushing, but of course all the hair and everything has to be done. This morning I went in back and cut in some of the details underneath the hair, and the same with cutting in around his pants and his boots. But I'll brush the whole thing with a large brush first, to just cover as much area as possible, and then go back and do the details, and then go back with the airbrush to do all my final details, and maybe add some blue in the joints and stuff, and then I'll give it one more hit of clear when I'm done. But you can see on the arms I've done a little bit of red. There's some blue already in there on the top there. That gives it some depth. On his knuckles I usually will use blues and purples down in here, or around in there on the neck, on the ears, give it a little color, and it gives it some depth, because if it's just solid color, number one, it's super bright, but number two, it lacks all this detail in these muscle areas and stuff. So just a little bit of light airbrush work in there, but he's coming along. This has been a fun build. I forgot I had this piece. I had it boxed away, and was moving some stuff around there. Then I was like, oh hell, I had it all basically done. I just had to get in and start brushing. So I finished up some other projects, so I went on and decided to start doing a little work on this. And the base I just sprayed with some of that textured paint that you can get at Home Depot. I've got 3 or 4 colors of that, but I like it. It has a rubbery feel to it. It's really durable and it's cool. It looks like concrete or stone, so I always use that kind of stuff. People ask me about paint work a lot of times, and figures I do hand brush on, but when I'm doing model cars and bikes, I really just don't do any hand brushing at all. None. I paint everything with Tamiya spray cans, so I get a smooth finish, or I always like my engine colors to match body colors on my custom work, so I'll airbrush it, with the same candy paints that I'm using on the car bodies and stuff. So that kind of is a rule of thumb for me to get a smooth finish on everything, is not to hand brush anything. Those old Testors enamels, if you've got that stuff, if you're still using that stuff, throw it away. Really, it's so bad, so gloppy. Use some of the newer stuff. I know we've lost a lot of paint, Model Master and stuff. A lot of that stuff has gone away. These companies have closed, and we've lost that stuff. But try some of the new water-based stuff, or try using an airbrush with some enamels, and you'll be surprisingly happy. But the Tamiya rattle cans, I don't use a lot of rattle cans, but I use, they're flat black, gloss black, and they're semi-gloss black on tires is really nice now. I use that. I use flat white. There's silvers and golds, that type of thing. And you get just such a nice, smooth finish, and they dry so quickly. So that's just kind of my tip for you guys. And everything else, I airbrush. Most of this stuff, I've been airbrushing this since it came out. A lot different animal. Takes some getting used to, but don't get frustrated. Stick at it and keep with it. But anyway, just a quick update on this resin Frankenstein, so you can just see what I'm doing. I've got my hands in some other stuff now too, and I've pulled out some other unfinished projects, but I'll show you in the next few days a few things that I'm finishing up that they've been 85% done forever, and I just finally decided to get some of this stuff finished. I found a couple things that were probably 5, 6, 7 years old that are almost done, and I know I've got a few more large projects like that too that I need to get to. So I'll keep you posted here, and I'll be throwing some stuff on here. And I've got some ideas for some upcoming videos. I think we're going to do some feature stuff on Tom Daniel kits. I'll show you some cool Tom Daniel stuff for not just models, but also some Hot Wheels and some autograph stuff I've got from Tom. I've been friends with Tom for almost 40 years, so he's autographed everything I own. But I'll pull some of that stuff out one day and get it all together on a table, and we'll do an expose on that. Oh, shop cards. I meant to tell you, my new shop cards should be in by the end of this week. I've got everybody's requests that sent them to me. If you want one, contact me. I put my email on there. It's ratdaddystudios@gmail.com. You want to send your requests there, and that way I'll get it, and I can get those shop cards out to you. And of course, I'd love to have yours, so my return address will be on there. So if you've got one of your own, please send it to me. That would be great. I appreciate it. But I will talk to you soon, and that's my update for today. Have a good day, guys. Take it easy.